Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Football Pundits. This is another FPL segment. The last one, let's just say another week to almost forget for a lot of managers. Jota obviously not starting for a few. Foster and Mendy owners like myself ended up with no keeper again. But despite playing with just 8 players, I'll take the 49 points over there. I hope the others fared better. With all the triple game weeks out of the way, the double game weeks, we're down to the final 2 game weeks of the season. So in this episode, again, we'll just come back to the basics, differential, captain picks, Jota replacement. Before I show you guys my team, just want to remind you to hit on that subscribe button if you haven't already. Leave a like on this video. We could really use the subscriptions. 1,000 before we start off the next season, hopefully. We'll do more of these segments in the off season as well. Just wanted to wish everybody a best of luck for the coming 2 game weeks. And I'm going to start off with my team, what transfers I'm going to possibly make, and talk about a few differentials in it. So this is what my team looks like. Got in Dallas last week, Son and Kane. The hits pretty much worked on itself. Son could have obviously got a few assists there as well. But I'll take what I got. Like I said, Kane could have had another goal in there, so a little unlucky. Dallas clean sheet was very, very useful indeed for me to hit those 49 points. As you can see, immediately Weltman has been injured, will definitely not be playing this game week. Shorten out time of 2 days between the last game week and this one. Jota is out for the season, which is just another 5 days. So he's not expected back. I have a couple of ways I can go about this, right? You can, for the ones who have Jota, I'll give you the replacement options, but you can, if you have bench players, go without taking a hit if possible, because next game week is the one where you do see possible squad rotation, especially with the Champions League final coming up, the Europa League final coming up. United play at the Europa League final about 4 days, I think, after the last game, 3 days after the last game. So you'd expect rotation there as well. Man City, on the other hand, after Pep's press conference, right, looks like he might try to play a few of the regular starters because he mentioned the importance of players not dropping form, right? He said KDB is fit, but after a few trainings, another training session, he'll probably see if he starts or not. But you could expect less rotation. And very importantly, for the ones worried about the defense, he said Ederson would start, right? So if you do have a City defender in there still and you're worried about rotation, that's one part of it taken out in terms of Ederson in the back brings some more security to it. If you were to go for a City player this week, I would still steer clear of the defense, right? John Stones hasn't played since he's been suspended. He could have played last week as well. But I would steer clear of that defense. Cancelo started the last one. Maybe he starts this one. Apart from that, a lot of rotation options there again. But yeah, looking at the lineup I have right now, there's temptation to kind of hold on the transfer and put 2 onto next week so I can again have a playing squad without taking hits. But if I do take replacements, right, and let's start off with the likes of Jota, I would definitely keep Iheanacho on my bench then. So let's move on to the transfer page. So Jota, there obviously is the worry for me, and so as Weltman. I have 0.3 in the bank. Now, going without Bruno was obviously something I thought of doing from game week 36 onwards for Salah. But once the whole triple game week conundrum hit us, I was forced to take a -8 there and balance teams out. It worked out though. I got my highest season score at 136 points there. So the hits more than enough doubled up over there for me. Now I have a few ways of looking at this, right? If you want to take out just one change and you have a good balanced lineup, if your strike force is you're already out with Nacho, right? So if you have DCL, Kane, Antonio, Bamford, your 3 strikers there, which is why I said you could easily maybe just go benching him and saving that hit. But if you don't and you want to make a hit, you have a few obvious options, right? So Greenwood right now is at 7.3. If you have more money in the bank, I would say Greenwood more likely to pay both the games or at least a bigger part in both of those games. For me, he's on a direct route into this team right now. I could have had him in yesterday, but like I said, I wanted to wait for all the press conferences, and I really don't end up ruining not taking the players in immediately if I miss out on point one, right? You want all the information, especially if you're going to take hits. So I would say Greenwood is a good sure shot option only because he's in good form, and from the remaining 2 games, he's the likely player who will play a part in both or major part in both. I expect some rotation with Rashford. Ole will want him to hit form before the final. But Rashford is lacking fitness himself, right? So you might not risk him in case there's another doubt or a niggle or two. I think Bruno Fernandes will be rested in the final game or will play limited minutes there. So again, an asset to consider getting back in. You think twice about it. Not ruling that out completely myself, and I can show you that later. But the straight up option would be Greenwood for you. If not Greenwood, what are the other options? You will ask me about Pereira, right? Look, Pereira, again, obviously the price is not the problem. West Ham leads to good fixtures. Even with the slightly toughish fixtures, Pereira has shown some end of season form. The assist and the goal in the last two games, blank against Wolves, but again did well against Villa. So he definitely is worth one to consider, looking at how West Ham are also looking to finish the season strong. Not only strong to kind of maybe clinch top four in case Leicester or Chelsea collapse and in case Liverpool collapse as well, right? So West Ham will be going for it. So there is potential on the counter for West Brom to get a goal or two. So Pereira is a good option for me there. I kind of had recommended against him a week or two back because I felt at that time still keeping the likes of Lingard and Greenwood are better options. But if you can't afford Lingard, don't have the money in the bank for that for sure. Pereira is not a bad pick to have. If you obviously don't have Jesse Lingard still, and yes, he's had an average couple of game weeks. Like I said, the same reasons why I mentioned West Ham chasing, why Antonio and Lingard are kind of must-have, I think, players in your team in the run-in, right? What I said last week was the worry about Bamford is the same reason I'll mention it again. In the last episode, I mentioned Bamford is very likely to play lesser minutes compared to Antonio. And even though Leeds scored 4, Bamford was taken off in the 57-minute, no returns, just a solitary point over there, right? So I would say if you're looking to replace any one of them or get them in now, Antonio is not on a prolific goal scoring spree, but if you have to choose between either one of them, I would still say Antonio definitely getting, unless any injury concerns, that will get more minutes than him. Than Bamford, with Rodrigo also looking in form and fit himself. Other options apart from Pereira and Greenwood, I would again look at the other Leeds counterpart. Rafinha's fit again, 1 assist in his last game, 5.5. Again, no brainer there. Just again, take the last fixtures for Leeds, Southampton, West Brom, and same for West Ham guys. It's again West Brom and Southampton in the reverse order for them. So easy fixtures for both these sides, right? So these are the assets you would consider the cut price range, freeing up pricing money for you in the other departments if you want to save in that money for potential hits you want to take in the penultimate in the last game week. Rafinha, like I said, could have had another assist himself in the last game, 4-0 to Leeds, quite a good scoreline. So he's definitely one to consider. If I had to choose between him and Harrison has been looking promising himself, right? In fact, to show you guys just the scoring, Harrison has scored more points over Rafinha, but Rafinha has missed out more games with injuries, and he has had a few more sub appearances himself, right? So I'd say I would still be tempted with Rafinha over Harrison, but to be fair, it's 2 games to go. You could go with either and maybe just go with your gut there. If your gut's telling you to go Harrison, I would say Rafinha the safer pinch there. So I think if you talk about Jota replacements, these are the safer, logical, immediate replacements I would see. Greenwood, number 1, Pereira, Rafinha, both number 2, number 3. For me, Harrison and the outside chance there. You're looking beyond these players. Look, there is a case for Newcastle players, right? Saint-Maximin is at 5.1. Easy-ish fixtures. Obviously, Southampton, Fulham, you would think no Wilson for them. Slight worry, but Newcastle have been part of the goals. I think they have the most number of goals scored in the last couple of games for a Premier League side. The 5.2, sorry, for Saint-Maximin. His price went up from the last time I spoke about him. The other player we will speak about, again, to just purely to make money, right? More money, is Willock at 4.7. Now, he missed the penalty in the last game, but did score of the rebound. So you worry that is it the wrong time to get in Willock? Has he already got his scoring spree out of the way? I mean, Sheffield and Fulham. So you saw what Sheffield are capable of, right? They try to win on a high themselves. Very likely to shut off teams like they did against Everton, kind of close down, try to pinch a goal there. Will Newcastle do well against a side like Sheffield? If they do that, having more of the ball, that's the stuff you kind of worry about. So it's a worry for me when I look at Newcastle, looking at all of those things and how Sheffield might start off, which is why I'm kind of wary of staying away from the likes of Willock and Saint-Maximin. but they're definitely worthy shout out for punts if you want to take looking up at a mini league, especially if you already have the likes of Rafinha, right? Have the likes of Bruno already, so you don't want another United player in there. Definitely worth the punt over there if you're looking to make space and not willing to start off with the likes of Iheanacho yourself if you have that in your team. So that is kind of what I would say are the players you look at replacing Jota for me. Now, if I look at my personal team and my personal moves, right, I have pretty much all of these options, like I mentioned. If I don't want to start off with Iheanacho, which I'm kind of wary of starting him, I have a feeling that Chelsea kind of will be looking to come back from the defeat in the FA Cup. And on the flip side, you would say Leicester is on the high ground, but they could be the undoing, right? Vardy has been poor form, has been wasteful. So I worry a bit about starting Iheanacho. So I'm assuming if I go up with five in midfield, I would want one of my all five of my midfielders to start. So I think Rafinha or Greenwood are good options for me there. Again, now with the money I save, right? So if I have to get in Greenwood outright, I can't do that. So I have to make a move in one of my defenders. I could downgrade Weltman there to make up for it. I need 0.1 to get in Greenwood, right? So I could probably get rid of Weltman, downgrade him with a player who I can cover in next week. Or I could even downgrade the likes of Godfrey down to a Rudiger. Definitely should play the last two games, with Chelsea playing a big part in making sure they finish in the top four, right? They want to make sure that they don't let that slip, even with the Champions League coming up. Rudiger has been an important player who's starting ideally both those games. So I probably can downgrade that and make that happen for me and get in Greenwood. Those are the two moves I could make there. Just easier to show you guys visually. Right, so I get Rudiger in there. I have enough money to get in Greenwood. On the flip side, I could keep Godfrey because, like I said, next week's fixture is a worry for me, which is why DCL was a possible transfer out. But two injuries this week again. I've had just so many injuries since I wildcard in game week 30, right? I've had to take hits every week because I have an injury every week. It's just almost crazy the injuries that I've had. Possibly more than 8 injuries, and including a suspension of Stones. I think 9 players, big players, first team players missing for me. So yeah, that is one move I could make, and the other move I could make is save up on maybe not getting Greenwood, get in the likes of Rafinha to encounter not having Bamford, for example, looking at least promising fixtures, and then maybe taking out Iheanacho and getting in Antonio. That could be one of my moves there. Again, like I said, if I do have to take a hit, this leaves me with money in for next week as well. Downside, I do not have a United asset this week and next week to cover. Fulham at home. Home game is a big one for a lot of sides who are having fans back, right? People think it will be a big factor in the way even the captaincy options will go. So yeah, I would think Antonio for me or Bamford if I had to go for strikers, like I already mentioned, right? Just owned by under 10% still for me. But this is how I would see me making either of those moves. I could obviously just, like I said, not even do that because I wouldn't mind starting Smith Rowe, although I feel his goals were a bit lucky in the double game week, right? But he's in good form. Don't see any reason why he won't start. I would play Smith Rowe, I think, or Iheanacho, so I would have 5 already with Rafinha in. I could hold that, not take a hit, and just keep that transfer, just keep that hit away from me and just go ahead with the team that I have, right? Let's move on to differentials now. So, like I mentioned earlier, right, I spoke about Harrison and the likes of Saint Maximin. I think those are worthy differentials to consider. Firstly, simply starting off with the fact they're looking at the fixture run, right? So if I look at Leeds fixture run, so Rafinha is owned by about 7.5%. So that's why I say Harrison, because he's just at 5% right now. Southampton, West Brom. Southampton, obviously not an as easy a game as people are expecting because Southampton are looking to end the season in good form themselves. So you would say it's a slightly tougher game for them over there. They did very well in the last game as well. Pretty much got most of their squad back from injury. So they'll be happy with the composition. But I think Harrison at 5.5 SKC, Leeds coming in with some good end of season form themselves, right? Again, Newcastle, Saint Maximin 5.2, owned by under 3.5% managers. Very good fixture run. They play Sheffield and Fulham. both sides already relegated, looking to end the season high. Newcastle looking to finish the season high though, and they have been part of the goals of late, right? So for me, these are the two players who could definitely be differentials. Differentials are definitely worthy of the definition under 5% ownership or just at 5% ownership, right? If you're looking away from these players, I would also say looking at the end of season form. So Jay Adams is someone I want to look at. Jay Adams is just again at 5.2% himself, just like I say, outside the technical zone for me. But they play Leeds and West Ham. Again, good fixtures. Jay Adams has been doing very well. Goals in his last two games. Could have had another one in the last game itself again. Looking good. Price at 5.7 again. Definitely, if you have a Iheanacho, no cover in midfield, can't make the moves as suggested with all the hits you have to take. Iheanacho down to Adams for the last two games also is a good option. Definitely work out worthy punt over there, right? Let's move on to the captain picks now. Obviously, we have three big players, right? Mo Salah, Harry Kane, and Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes lost a few owners last week, so would definitely seem like a better option in terms of the loose ownership could make him slightly a differential of an option. Bruno Fernandes, Harry Kane both play home games, right? They do play Aston Villa. Tyrone Mings mostly will be back for this one. Yes, they missed cash, but I don't know if it'll be as easy for Spurs to score like it was for Crystal Palace. I still think if I had to pick my captain option, I think Mo Salah is number one, Bruno Fernandes number two, and Harry Kane number three in that order. Yes, Salah plays away from home. Yes, Liverpool were lucky, you could say, to get that goal from Alisson. But you could also say that the result could buoy them on to finish in the top four, especially with one of Leicester and Chelsea winning or losing that game, right? Could leave up the space for them to finish in the top four, right? So Liverpool will be gunning for that position. Pope is not available for this fixture, so Burnley could consider goals as well and concede goals as well. Sorry, you saw Leeds taking full advantage of that last week, right? A little disorganized in the back, not too certain there. I feel Salah is a standard option for me. Then, like I said, Fernandes, because of, again, the home fixture, if I go between Fernandes and Kane, I would say it would be Fernandes for me. If you're looking at a differential option out of away from all of these players, I think if you have the likes of Antonio, I would pick Antonio for me as a differential option coming up against West Brom. I don't see West Brom not giving a fight, but I do see them leaky in the back to concede those goals. You'd expect Antonio, Souček, and Lingard to be the one involved in this, right? I think you want to go differential, not much to lose, a little behind in the mini leagues to actually come up, have some fun. I would say Antonio is a good pick there. But that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Best of luck for this game week. Like I mentioned in the start, don't forget to hit subscribe and leave a like on this video. If you have any doubts, any other moves that you would like to talk about, players that are not covered, please leave it in the comment section. We'll be happy to pick it up for you. And make sure you check for updates and anything we would have missed out closer to the deadline on our Twitter. So again, best of luck. And we hope to see you in the next episode, the last one for this season. Cheers, guys.